This conference will now be recorded.
Call a meeting in order. Would everyone please join me in the pledge of allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, welcome everyone. First order of business will be to approve the agenda. Is there any changes, Bruce?
Mr. Chairman, there is an amended agenda. You'll know it's amended. It says so at the top, and then at 9:30, this is the amendment. Financial Resources Committee planning to come in and talk about the benchmark project. Other than that,
Move to approve this amendment. Okay, moved by Tisdale, seconded by Jennings for approval. All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Do we have any conflicts?
Not here.
We need approval of the regular meeting minutes.
Move to approve
the minutes.
Second.
Okay, our motion is second for approval. All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Now we need to recess as county commission and go into Board of Adjustments
So
for the
moved.
next set of minutes. Who made the motion?
I did.
Okay, motion by Flanagan, seconded by Jennings. All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. All right, we are now acting as the Board of Adjustment.
Motion to approve the minutes. Second.
Okay, motion by Flanagan, seconded by Sleep. Approval. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
Move to recess as Board of Adjustment, or do we have any,
you can recess if you want to, because you're going to be back in later on.
okay,
Yeah.
and to reconvene as county commission?
Okay. All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. I've had my questions answered on the bills. Anyone have any questions or discussion on the bills? I'm good.
No, I'm good. Move to approve the bills. Second.
Okay, motion by Flanagan, second by Tisdale for approval of the bills that we paid. All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Personnel, Ms. Brandon.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Bless you.
All right. Start with the state's attorney's office. We just have a cell phone request for Andrea Hansen. It's $50 per month, starting 11/30 of 2025.
Approve the request.
Motion and seconded. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
And then to the treasurer's office, we have a request to consider approving sick leave donations to Rachel Baird as Article 4, Section 4.1 of the Lawrence County Personnel Manual.
Move to approve this donation.
Second. Second.
Okay, motion by Jennings, seconded by Tisdale. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
We have 4 personnel request forms from the sheriff's office. Start with Troy Thompson. This is going to be a dual role employee. He will be a part-time fill-in employee at the correction, as a correction officer at a base pay of $33.33. I'm noting that he will be paid at his deputy 2 grade 2 wages while he is filling in the jail. And then a classification change for Larry Ford Jr. I'm going to a correction officer sergeant, grade 1, base pay at $27.41, effective 12/14. And Savannah Pickett Kitzmiller is a new hire via part-time fill-in dispatcher 1, grade 1, base pay at $24.08, effective 12/9. And Lamar Anderson is a new hire. He will be a correction officer 2, grade 3. He will be a full-time, but he will just be a temporary employee, and this will be effective on 12/9/25.
Motion to approve the sheriff's request.
Second.
Make motion by Tisdale, seconded by Sleep, for approval. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Chairman, that's all the personnel that I have.
Okay, travel request.
Yes, I have one. Alrighty, travel request is for John Bay. He's requesting to attend the 2026 annual NACE conference to be held in Arlington, Texas from April 12th to the 15th. He also has signed the travel and training agreement.
Move to approve the travel request.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion by Jenny, seconded by Tisdale for approval. All those-
Does John know that he have to report back afterwards?
If that's what you want as part of your motion, but yes, he typically does as part of his project updates.
Okay, thank you.
A written report is standard, right?
Yeah, we can, yeah, and that's typically what John does, so.
We don't have a standardized setup at this point, no.
It was just
Mr.
that.
Sleep requested one in writing the last time from Amber.
All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Auditor's account with the treasurer.
Alrighty, this is as of the end of November. Total amount of deposits in the bank is 23,609,736.71. Included in that total is the bank balance of $22,499,544.60. And the money market of $1,110,192.11. The total amount of actual cash is 1,350. Total amount of checks and drafts and treasurer's possession not exceeding 3 days is $40,766.05. And the cash, 3 days, not exceeding 3 days, $3.64. Petty cash, $2,725 for a total of $23,654,581.40.
Move.
Approve account, clerk, auditor's account.
Second.
Okay, motion by Jenny, seconded by Sleep for approval. All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And we did not receive the state health nurse agreement, so we won't be dealing with that. Ms. Brett, you have some abatements?
I do. I have 3 abatements. The first abatement I have is for Mr. Meza. He is out at 2110 Westview Drive. This is the property that, I guess we could say during the conversion, we had an error. And so we were just correcting it, basically. With the thousands of properties we did, every once in a while we come up with one. So like to correct that and abate that for $83,139.
Motion to follow recommendation.
Second.
Motion by Flanagan, seconded by Tisdale for approval. All those in favor of the motion will say aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
The next one is for John Wells. He applied for an exemption for the veteran who would otherwise qualify for an exemption. He actually qualified as of, according to his letter, back in May, but he didn't receive it until after November 1st. So he wasn't able to actually apply till after November 1st without the letter. So this will be for tax year 2026 payable in 27. So it's giving him the exemption
State law allows you
to do that. Yep.
gives you the discretion.
Move approval.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a motion by Mr. Sleep, seconded by Tisdale. Do we have any further discussion? You want to talk with Mr. James?
No, I was just trying to sort the timeline out.
Yeah. So they would have to apply by November 1st to get it for 26 payable 27.
All All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
And the last one I have is for the city of Deadwood. They purchased a building and in December 24 actually, and would, so for 25 payable and 26, we need to give it's become exempt. So that would be $97,072.
Motion by Tisdale, second by Jennings for approval. All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Jackie.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Mr. Chairman, at this time, I'd request board approval to let the bids for our vehicles for 2026. This is a little bit unique in the way that we're going to approach it. We actually are going to have two separate bids. A little bit of, I think, appropriate strategy involved here. So, Bruce.
So I think Sheriff is asking permission to authorize advertise for bids for 3 half-ton SUVs, patrol vehicles, and 1 full-size SUV. Set the bid opening for December 23rd, your next meeting at 8:15.
All right.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion by Jennings, second by Slee. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
Yesterday, Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Jennings and I attended a meeting with a number of local folks in regards to a couple of different issues with regards to federal funding. And I think for the first time in some time, we made considerable progress that might have a positive impact on Lawrence County's budget in 2027. And that was in no small part, the success of that meeting was in no small part a result of Commissioner Jennings' unique understanding of a trust. And so I think that might get us over the hump and have some positive news in the near future. And that's what I have for today.
Any questions for the sheriff? How's the shop coming up there?
I think it's going very well. As I understand it, they're building interior walls now. So,
All right, thank you.
all right.
Well, it's too early for the public hearing, so Mr. May, are you still here? We'll probably have to quit in the middle of your business time to do a public hearing, so.
Okay, that's all right. I do have a couple of requests for permits, and these are for temporary approach permits. This is from Nyman Industries. They got a log sale. That's down on the Erickson Road. Both the approaches have good sight distance. I did speak with them in depth about making sure that they remove the approaches when they're done, which they did on the last ones. We went down and inspected those at the same time. Last year about this time, they did a similar log sale just a little bit further to the north, and they have reclaimed those approaches. So I have that as a condition of these as well, just to keep the side-by-side traffic out of there and not making them permanent. So I would recommend that we approve these so that they can get this log sale started.
Motion to follow recommendation.
Second.
Okay, motion by Klein and seconded by Slee. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
And the next thing I have on there, we ran into a snag again with some equipment purchases. We took possession of our new plow truck this year, but none of the snow equipment, or the majority of the snow equipment isn't here. It's not going to be done by the end of the year. We're not going to get billed for that this year. State law requires that we're supposed to have everything in our possession before we can pay for it. So we can't really prepay for some of these items. They told me that the truck body probably won't be here until June of next year. So big hold up on that. But we do have in our possession, or we can have in our possession, is one of the graders. Our first grader showed up 2 weeks ago now. So, and we have already gave them our trade in so they can start switching it over. So we can take possession and be billed for that machine by the 17th. And I would like to do that. That really help our budget for next year. So we don't have that shortfall of equipment purchases. So we would have a slight shortfall this year, of course, but we do have the funding available right now to cover it. So I would like to get your approval to buy one of the 6 graders, and then that would free up the funds to pay for that snow equipment next year.
Do you see any issue with that? Okay, I'll make a motion to follow recommendation. Allow the purchase of the 1 grader in lieu of equipment for the plow truck.
Second.
Oh. Motion by Flanagan, seconded by Jennings. All those in favor of the motion will say aye. Opposed?
Thank you.
Is that gonna leave you short of a snowplow, not having the truck available?
No, we haven't traded off any other snow plows other than the ones from last year. So we're still full equipment. The truck that this will replace, we're actually going to move up to the public safety center. So they have one of our smaller trucks up there with sand. We've already built a sand pile up there so they can have sand on hand. You know, we make a round through there when we can, but we're not always available. So we're going to move one of our sand trucks up there so they can have it throughout the winter. And when we don't get up there in time, they'll be able to. They already have enough plow equipment up there, but that hill gets pretty slippery. So they'll have one of these sand trucks up there. So that's what we plan on doing with that sand truck that we're replacing. And I guess the next thing on my list is I gave you guys all kind of a draft agreement here. I sent it as well to Bruce ahead of time.
Yeah, because it is talking about that CP finding, I recommend that you, as county commissioners, reconvene this board of adjustment.
Says this county commission and convene as board of adjustment.
Sorry. Motion by Tisdale,
For
seconded by
contractual
Jennings.
matters, is that what?
Well, we're going back into the board of adjustment because this is.
Oh, board of adjustment, yes. I was thinking we
All
were
right,
doing
all those in favor of the motion will
I had
say
us.
aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. We are now acting as the board of adjustment. Okay, John, sorry.
Okay, well, so I have this draft. This is this haul route agreement for the proposed CUP 498, the gravel pit up on the Larson Road, or the Larson pit up on the Homestake Road. So everything that I have here is up for your guys' discussion and review. Anything that you see either highlighted, bold, or underlined is things that have been added or changed from the previous agreement. I know there were some things, like I said, I had given this to Bruce ahead of time so he could kind of review it, and I would refer to him for any of the legal type of contractual agreements here. So whatever questions you may have, I guess I would try to answer best I could, or I'm sure Bruce can help out.
Mr. Larson's also here. Did you want to add anything to this, Cameron, prior to us getting into discussion?
Yeah, the only thing I would like to recommend is from the entrance to the pit to Hillsview, to the service road 14, speed limit be 35 instead of 45. I guess that would be my only concern in that area.
Something we can add for discussion, Don?
Correct. It is, and part of that road is that speed limit. There is the speed reduction through those narrow areas, so it wouldn't be real hard to change it the whole way. And it would be a reasonable request for sure.
I guess I'll kind of start the conversation on that. Pearls has offered to help widen that narrow spot out. been giving that a lot of thought, and that's probably something that Lawrence County should have done years ago, because it's definitely very narrow. And we maybe should have done it years ago. So I would think that even though they want to participate and probably furnish some materials and some of the work, I think we should also be involved in it to make it a safer spot for the county. So that's kind of my thoughts on that. Yes.
Well, thinking about things, I think the overall concept here would be whatever improvements that you have made would be part of either one or more projects that would be county projects that we would go through the bidding process on, thinking that we would then be reimbursed to whatever extent we agreed upon by the operator. Does that make sense, John? Is that what I'm
Correct.
thinking? And so just to kind of have that in the back of your mind, we have to identify what work you want to have done. We probably then have to go back to the developer, the operator, and make sure that they're willing to participate, maybe get some engineers' estimates. I don't know. So there might be several steps involved here before you can kind of finalize the agreement. Seems to me. But we need to start somewhere.
I had one suggestion that we not tar the road from down the bottom of the hill up to the turnoff of the mine. I should leave it gravel. And that, I had one person comment on that, and I believe I had to pay lawyer's fees for Mrs. Wing and Company several times, and that now we're tar the road halfway up to her place. I don't think that's necessary.
I would also, to get this done in any kind of time frame or soon time frame, I would also like to bring to the attention that, we cut our budget for next year. So I don't, funding may be an issue if we're going to participate in some of this, or if we're going to pay and expect to be reimbursed. For 2026, I mean, we cut back a lot of our budget for a lot of projects. So I guess if we were going to go forward, if we were going to participate in some of these road reconstructions, we maybe have to look at some funding, or how we're going to fund it.
Well, the only one I think that we should participate would be the widening of that narrow spot. I don't see that as anything on the contractor or the landowner up there. The paving part, they've offered to do that part at no cost to the taxpayer, as well as maintaining it through the life of the pit. I don't know that I care one way or the other if that road's paved or not, but if you've got a company that's willing to pay for that at no cost to the taxpayer, then I think we need to consider it.
Didn't they offer to widen it though also?
They did.
They did, yeah, that's what I thought. I don't think that the county should participate monetarily in that project in the widening.
No, the only thing I think we need to participate in is that narrow spot, because I think, after thinking about it, I think that's something we should have done years ago.
Well, possibly, but they offered. And so in my mind, we didn't make a requirement. They offered to do it. And they probably penciled it in. So why not accept it?
If you conclude on those two areas, then I'm just trying to think out loud, would it be fair to have John Bay then go and get some engineers' estimates of what that would be? Is that gonna be the next step? So you know what your budget's gonna look, well, it would be them paying for it, I guess, right? So that would take care of that, but then just to reconfirm that they're willing to make that contribution in whatever amount it is. I'm sure it's relatively de minimis, but I have no idea.
Well, their willingness means nothing because they offered to do that to get the project.
Yeah.
So I don't know that they have a choice of whether they're willing or not.
The choice is that they can use the original whole route to the west.
True.
They were willing to widen the road to the east in exchange for allowing that to be the whole route. But I do want to make sure though that any engineering and work done on is up to county specs. So we need to have some control over it somehow.
Sure, John, to the extent that these improvements have been suggested, do you have a recommendation on them? It's not counter to anything that you know of to do these improvements?
No, I don't think it's counter to do these improvements. I think these improvements would be a benefit. I've spoke quite a bit with a few of you about different obstacles and pros and cons to each. As far as the county standpoint, I don't think this paved road versus a gravel section of road in this area, I don't think our maintenance, winter maintenance would not change. We do the same amount of work on that road, whether it would be gravel or paved. As far as we've had this discussion in the past as pavement versus gravel, you know, the expense up front is a little more for pavement, but the overall maintenance of pavement versus gravel from year to year is kind of negligible. It's very similar. So I think that having this road paved, there's a lot of benefits. When you're dealing with dust control, I mean, probably the ultimate form of dust control is a paved road. You know, you don't get a lot of dust off of pavement. So if dust is an issue in this area with the homeowners being that close to a gravel quarry and the haul route creating the dust, you know, it'd be hard to say that pavement isn't going to be a solution to that problem. So that would be a big benefit to that.
John, do you still have, I think there's been concerns over summertime use of that road, and the asphalt got hot enough that it could ripple as the trucks go down.
That is a possibility, and that's where I think that we would have to have or would want some sort of an engineer involved to have a design mix, so we don't just have an inferior product in that area. There are better asphalts that hold up to that type of traffic. And I think that's where, you know, having an engineer involved so we can control the design mix and the application of it throughout that project. So it sounds easy just to come in and pave. You see it happen every summer here. You know, you get people come in from all over the country and they'll pave up people's driveways for cheap. And then 2 years later, that pavement is junk. To have it done correctly and to have an engineer involved, I think is crucial.
Okay.
I had some questions as far as a couple of the items on here, you know, if this haul route were to go to the east, if it would be acceptable and if it works out, if the contractor is going to pay for some of these, are we going to still try to levy some sort of tonnage fee, or is that going to be removed? And then the other one I have is the 80,000 pound or less limit, because, you know, our roads are posted at 80,000 out there on West 14. I know the operator requested to have that raised. I don't want to raise that for our other roads. That's why I put in the 80,000 pound or less. So I'd like to stick with that, but I want your guys' input on it.
All right, I'm gonna have to.
That's all right.
We'll continue this after we have.
I'm sure I'll think of something when I'm sitting here.
Recess, Board of Adjustment.
Just all this stuff out of the way.
Okay, motion by Dennis,
You're right.
second by Tisdale. All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. All right. I would place for public hearing resolution 2025-57. And it's a resolution vacating the portion of the highway. And we'll go ahead and have it presented here again, and it is a public hearing, so we'll offer the opportunity for those in the room as well as online to enter into or against this. And if we do have someone, I would ask that they would please stand and state your name and address for the record. Go ahead, Bruce.
You should all have in your packets the relevant information concerning 2025-37. It's a vacation up in the Deer Mountain area. John Frederickson is here. I think the surveyor was Randy might be here as well if you have any questions. It appears to be rather straightforward to eliminate that portion of the section line crossing lots 2, 3, 4, and kind of move it into lot 5 surrounding Unicorn Court. I think that the reason for it is basically just to remove the encumbrance, not at this point for any other specific purpose. Looking at the property owners that did sign it, the petition I think they all signed it except for, there was an exception of one landowner. The majority did sign, and we have not heard any opposition to the petition.
Okay, Mr. Frederickson, did you want to add anything?
There are some other reasons. The section line was discovered when they were getting a building permit, and so it was suggested that it be vacated, and that's what they intended on doing. But the section line, as it runs across those 4 lots, runs either between buildings and garages and houses and stuff, and so they just want to vacate it so that they can clear their property of the section line. So.
Okay. We will open it up for the public hearing, and then we'll have further discussion here. But is there anyone in the body of the room that would like to speak to this at this time? Diver?
Thank you, Randy Diver, 1715 Scott Avenue. And I'll just note that we have several of these in these old subdivisions throughout the county. And as we move forward, and as many of them as we can clean up, we should. A lot of the building permits were issued with the section lines going through, and staff didn't know it, although it's shown on the plat. So I think every opportunity that they're voluntarily cleaning them up, it's a great idea. Thank you.
Anyone else in the room that would like to speak? How about online? Is there anyone online that would like to speak to this? Okay, one more time in the room, anyone? Not seeing anything, we'll close the public hearing and offer to the board. Commissioner Sleep, you had a question?
Well, I was just kind of wondering if, does any of the neighbors go between their buildings to get there or on the section line?
No, I don't think it's.
No.
doesn't sound like
No,
it.
the section line is just, you can't really tell it's there. We didn't know about it until it was surveyed. So
Okay, thank you.
Motion to approve the resolution 2025-37.
Okay, motion by Tisdale, seconded by Jennings for approval. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Motion to recess.
No, sorry, premature, you got one more to do. We've
Oh,
got
one more.
We have one more public hearing.
One more public hearing, which is transfer of a retail on-off sale malt beverage license. Ms. Brenda,
Yeah. So this here is, transferring is the, gonna go by Gladville's Campground. They're purchasing this from the Grims. And, they do have the affidavit authorizing the transfer. And they are just asking to transfer this. Also, we have to have, we haven't gotten the information back from DCI yet for their background check. So if you do so approve this, it would be contingent upon us receiving that before we mail it to the Department of Revenue.
okay, it is public hearing. Is there anyone in the room that would like to speak for or against this? How about online? Okay, not seeing any. Close the public hearing now to the board.
Motion to approve with the contingency that we get the report from DCI.
Thank you.
Second.
Okay, motion by Flanagan, seconded by Mr. Sleep. Any further discussion on it? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Now, motion to recess from Board of Adjustment. Meeting as county commissioner.
Vice versa.
I'm sorry. Thank you. Reverse that.
Okay.
It feels a lot like Willy Wonka all this.
Yeah.
Yeah, make a motion to carry second. Okay. Motion and second, for approval, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right, Mr. Bay, you're back in the boat.
Aye.
Thank you for allowing us to
That's all right.
kind of get caught up.
Okay. I think when we left off, I was talking about the weight rating for that east route. All of our roads, once you get off the gravel, are posted at 80,000 pounds. I would like to leave it at that. I don't want to raise that. I also made an addition, after speaking with the proposed operator of this mine site and his request to have seasonal load limits kind of not followed. And I would want to make sure, and I added that in here, that this agreement will not take the place of, nor will it be exemption of any seasonal load limits. You know, those are kind of presented to us by the state. Annually, they ask us to, you know, in the spring of the year when the thaw is, you know, to post our roads. It is for the protection of our roads. So I want to leave that in place as well. So, again, and then the tonnage, we just need to figure out if they're gonna participate in a road improvement, if we're gonna, you know, the reason we charge this a per ton price is for road maintenance, and they're taking that on themselves. So I guess I would think that we wouldn't really have that clause in there for this particular site, but that would be up to you guys.
My only thought would be they can go the other direction as well. And we do have to maintain that. They're not going to pave that area.
That's
So we
right.
still have
I guess
expenses going that direction.
that is correct.
Yeah.
And I guess if that's the case, then we need to come up with some sort of a price. The other mine that's on that road, it's a nickel a ton is all they're being charged. This one, we talked about 25 cents a ton, but I don't think that was ever decided upon. That was just for discussion. And I guess that would be the continuing discussion at this time.
Well, it certainly should be something that's fair on practice that we're already doing.
So if I remember correctly, Mr. Bay, that 25 cents was going to cover 2 mag water treatments on that road. That's essentially what it was going to do.
It would cover whatever would be required.
But that's kind of where
Correct.
where our budget was kind of.
And I think it was also, if I can remember right, and I think I'm right, when we talked about the 25 cents per ton, that would be a starting point, and then it could come back. It could be reduced if it was covering the expense. So, I mean, that again would be a decision we could make.
Yeah, I'm just kind of hung up on we're only charging the other one 5 cents.
Well,
I don't know.
that's probably an outdated figure too. The other one was began quite a few years ago.
No, I understand.
And costs have gone up significantly.
That shop probably should be reviewed on the other one.
Yes.
Time we have to review and bring it up equal to this one.
Well, I don't think if I remember, I don't think the 5 cent cost covered the costs that we have.
Probably not. It doesn't cover the magging or it does it not.
No. I will say that the other gravel pit, they pay to chloride that section of Datum or whatever road out there.
Yeah, but not.
They don't pay the main road. They pay for that mile or half a mile or whatever it is into the pit. So,
Protect ourselves and the citizens and stay at 25 and then they do keep make a note and we use the other one.
All right, where do we want to go from here, Bruce?
Well, I think John has some information now, so John, would you go back then to the operator and convey this to them, and then assuming no objection, proceed to probably get some engineer's estimates? Is that a fair way to proceed?
I would think it would be a very fair way to proceed. I guess I just need to kind of look into how we're going to fund some of this as far as getting the engineer's estimates and things like that.
So, yeah, I think, just talking briefly to Brenda, because you did reduce your budget, it hasn't been budgeted for, have to find those funds, have to get an idea of what it's gonna be, pay for it probably up front, and then, get reimbursed, we'd have to supplement your budget beforehand in order to pay for it. Does that make sense? So there'd be a process there we'd have to work through. It's in it very, very clearly, we'd have to, supplement the budget and then get reimbursed. Other way around. Okay, you did it right, all right. But stay tuned.
I can work on some estimates. I can come up with some of my own estimates and then I can confirm it with an engineer and I might be able to reduce the cost of at least getting estimates by quite a lot.
That's everyone on board with that? All right. waiting to hear from you again, sir.
So the
Okay.
agreement hasn't been finalized yet, just for the record, you're just putting a draft together, right? So stay tuned for more.
Okay, well, that's it for me. I appreciate the approval for this trip, the NACE trip. It's, those conferences are always very informative and kind of the leading edge of everything that's coming, so it's good to attend. Appreciate letting me go that. Thank you.
Thanks for going.
Yeah.
So moved.
All those in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. We're gonna take a quick break here, Bruce, get reconfigured and get Amber down here. So we'll take at least a 5-minute break.
Thank you. I'm gonna turn the recorder off for now.
All right. The first one is, we have the first reading in the public hearing November 25th. It's a change of zoning from 72, owner applicant Isaac Almanza. And today the hearing has been closed, so today is just for discussion of the board. Amber, do you want to refresh our memories?
So the change of zoning request is to go from general agricultural district to residential ag district. The access to this parcel will come from St. Anne's Road. The request is to subdivide the property into 4 lots for 40 acres with a density of 8 to 10 acres per lot. And then it's still in that district because it's an A2 district. It is intended that all lots would be responsible for their own water supply and intended for lots to have individual septic systems. Keep in mind, any platting to go through this property will go to the city of Spearfish, so you guys won't actually look at the plat because it's in Spearfish's platting jurisdiction. The application requirements were all met. The planning and zoning, that's right here. Planning and zoning did recommend approval. There was a motion to deny, which failed for lack of a second. And then there was a motion to approve, which did end up passing with a 4-2 vote on that one. And then, yeah, other than that, I mean, it meets all the requirements. From my standpoint, I know there was discussion on this distance to the municipality of the city of Spearfish, which is literally a couple hundred feet.
Okay, this has been before us before, and I voted against it, and now they've changed and want to go to 10 acres. And the city's coming over the hill, city limits to the west as well as to the south. Little Electric has also purchased a piece of property that's on the north end of this. So I've struggled with this. I'm tempted to support it today. Discussion.
I think the character of that area is large lot residential. I know it is initially when this came up, I had Amber look and see what may or may not be in compliance out there. And it seemed like everything was oddly in compliance, which surprised me because there as many houses fall along that stretch. It's a beautiful area. It's a desirable area. I understand people's desire to want to keep it the way it is. I think this is a decent compromise to have large lot residential in there and not high density. It is right by the city. Of course, we're missing there's a landowner in between, but you can throw a rock and hit it. I think it's a decent compromise from what the original proposal was, and I'm gonna support it as well.
Well, I'm not gonna support it. I think it shouldn't be. I think it should be left in agriculture, and there's agriculture all the way around it. And if they do what he wants to do with it for A2, I will bring probably 300 more votes there, and then we'll be voting on whether we want to have a gravel pit, which there's a gravel pit just around the corner from that, and we'll be arguing on that, and then well, also the livestock, St. Anne's Livestock isn't very far from there either, and they have smell and sound to contain with. They run probably close to 80,000 head of cattle through their year, and so there'd be a lot more people to vote for. So I don't think we should do it, and that I think that we should end right there. Otherwise, we're gonna run into problems down the way. So that's the way I feel.
Well, I know about Commissioner Flanagan's comment about the proximity to city limits. We did some measuring upstairs. I think it's about 500 feet from city limits. That's not exact, but that's using the measuring tools that we have here.
Why does that matter, Bruce?
I'm just following up on what Brandon said
Okay.
about the, yeah.
We created A2 for this very purpose. To be a buffer between ag and city and more higher density. And there's ordinance for a reason. They followed all of them. And it basically follows the comp plan. And if we're not gonna allow people to look at the ordinances and figure out what they can do with their land and then approve it and follow our own ordinances, we better be changing them. And ag wise, there's a gentleman there who has a couple hundred acres. There's a lady in back that should be under a CUP because commercial. Oh, she is? Okay. I stand corrected.
Right next door to it. There's a CUP right next door to this property. The Sundog, right, Sundog stable.
Yeah. For a commercial entity. So we can have some control over that. So I think they've done everything they need to do. I think the true ag and the more growth, larger ag is around the corner, down the road. And I think it fits this location.
Yeah, I certainly wouldn't support any more of this to the north of this property. It's definitely ag from there on, but my earlier statements that the city is right there now and they're coming in from the west over the hill, so.
And also, as you stated, Butte Electric owns property to the north of this, and they're gonna be coming in wanting to put a big facility there, and that's why they bought it. And I'm hearing support with other commissioners for that. Well, that's commercial. So, no, I support this.
Okay.
Amber didn't recommend it as commercial there. My son is the CEO over at Butte Electric, and he said he talked to you about it. And that before they bought it.
To do a change of zoning, correct? They could apply for a CUP. That's what I told them.
Any further discussion?
I agree with everything that's been said. This is a pretty tough one. It is very close to the city of Spearfish. It probably does follow the comprehensive plan, but it's also surrounded by agriculture. And there's agriculture from there on north. At some point, we got to just draw the line and say, this is where agriculture is going to start and this is where it's going to stop. And the other thing I'll just, as commissioner, I hear a lot of comments about people in development. I've heard one comment that this area should be developed and lots of comments that it should not be developed. So I'm not going to support it for those reasons.
I move to approve change order number 372.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion by Tisdale, seconded by Flanagan for approval. Further discussion.
Well, like I say, I think you gotta start and stop somewhere. You can't just keep going down the way. Everything shouldn't be developed in Lawrence County just because you can develop it. And that, I'm still gonna vote against it.
Well, I'll just make a few little comments. I have struggled hard with this one. And prior to was a no on it as well, and I do support ag. I own ag and I hate to see all of it getting built on, but with everything that's happened with this, I'm going to support it today. Any further comments? Okay, seeing none, Brenda, would you please do a roll call?
Denning,
May.
Tisdale,
Aye.
Sleep,
No,
Flanagan,
Aye.
Healy.
Aye.
It's
Okay.
3-2.
That passes. All right,
So this would, hopefully I'll still get it in the paper. Also try to send it after the meeting, if the paper can fit it, it'll be posted on Saturday and then it's 30 days. Or 20 days, 20 days from Saturday.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you.
all right, Amber, next one, we got a recess of county commissioners convening board adjustments.
Transfer.
Oh, transfer of the CUP, that's what
We
it
gotta
was.
get back in the board of management, correct?
Yep, so you're right. I forgot what we were.
Second.
Okay, motion by Jennings, seconded by Tisdale. All those approve of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. We are now acting again as the board of adjustment.
Okay, good. And I haven't met these guys, so Jeremy and Josh, are you?
Yep, I'm Josh Allmer.
Okay, just making sure. So this is the Carson Cottages out on Rockford Road, been in existence for many, many years. I think it originally started in 1999, I think is when it originally started. If you guys kind of recall, Joyce, DM passed away quite a few years ago. Joyce has been trying to keep it going, but she has had it on the market for a couple of years and it did sell. And so as part of that, Joyce has been in contact with me. Tyler Shad, who I think is the purchase person in between, the realtor in between, got everything together, and then Josh and Jeremy Miller and Josh Olmark have purchased it under KW Generations LLC. They would like to continue operating it pretty much as it is. We talked to them at quite length of, what the requirements would be if going forward, they decide to make any changes. If they do make any changes, it has to come back before the board, to look at any changes and see if they would do it. But for the time being, they'd like to just pull it straight across. They'll continue to rent the cabins, have a couple campsites there. There's a kind of side building that, you can rent out for like events and picnics and small things and things like that. That's all kind of been inclusive of this. So for now, they just want to transfer it straight across, accept the same conditions that were already in place.
Your office is not having any complaints or
No,
problems?
I don't
or
think
do
we've
we need
ever had a
additional-
complaint from this property. No. It's been on an as-needed basis for probably over 10 years now. And I did include in your packet, this is one of those that we do not have digitized, so we gotta go find it. So they're just scanned in copies of what we found in the folder. So this will digitize all of that now. We've got it all scanned in and ready to go, but conditions, what we've done in the past, if you want to, we can update the, the specific ones like, because like this talks about the 1997 life safety code. So normally we just update those to current coding. If they would do anything new, it has to come up to current code. So those, we would usually update those. It talks about the DENR. Normally we just update that to DANR because they changed the name of it. The only other section that I saw is this still talks about a Lawrence County zoning ordinance definition of 1.33, a specialty resort. Well, that section doesn't exist anymore because our numbering has changed. So usually I just go through and I would update just those specific ones to make sure it's with current stuff.
Do we just need a simple
Usually you just
motion to
do a
approve
motion
this?
to approve
Okay.
the transfer.
I'll make a motion to approve the transfer CUP 250 with the modern updates to the conditions to include life safety codes, the correct section of the ordinance, and
DANR.
DANR, yes.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion by Flanagan, seconded by Jennings. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those approval will say aye.
All right.
Opposed? All right, pass unanimously.
So that's it, Josh is ready to go, and then I will get you the updated conditions. It's just basic updates though, like I said, so I'll send those out to you as soon as we get them done.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, have a good day.
The next one, we will still act as Board of Adjustments to request to rebuild burned down home on same site and Lakewood permit give the owner to plant Stephanie Crowley.
This came in. Yeah, so we had them do a site plan and that's what was in your packet here. And I don't know if you know where this property is, it's just outside of St. Lawrence there. They have an existing house that sat right here. And it did burn down enough that they had to tear it down, but they're able to reuse the foundation. Well, that existing foundation was already there. They didn't want to necessarily have to do it. And as part of the building permit process, it was found that the existing foundation only sits 22 feet from the property line, but I couldn't tell you how long that house has been there. It's been there a long time. So when they came in, we started working on this and getting a new one. They'd like to put the new house on the existing foundation. It'll be a stick-built house. Use the existing foundation. They did, have the septic system and drain field checked. Everything was fine with that. There was no damage to it. So they were able to, they can just hook up, everything's already there, so they don't have to move anything. And then normally in the past, whenever we've had a fire situation, you have normally waived their building permit fee. That's kind of always what we've done. So two things. One, are you okay with them using the existing foundation? Because I usually don't have them go through a variance in this procedure because it's already there. And two, to waive the building permit fee.
Okay.
They've met all the other requirements, so.
But as soon as entirely possible, if this house was built before the requirements for setbacks.
Correct.
Commissioner
And
Flynn?
it's a quarter description too, so that usually has some play in it, so it's surveyed.
I would still recommend that we figure out a way to go through the variance process to make it into compliance for next time they sell it or whatever.
I don't mind going through the process. Would you be willing to maybe waive their fee and do it as an administrative?
I would make a motion to allow this structure to be built on the existing foundation and request planning and zoning have them go through the variance process to come into compliance and waive that fee as well.
And the building?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll second
Yeah, that's fine.
Motion by Brannigan, second by
Just
Flynn,
clean it
for
up.
approval. Further discussion?
Clean it up.
Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
And that's not, they won't have a problem with that. It was just.
We
the
can just,
timing
then we
thing
just get
that
it
was-
cleaned up.
No,
You're trying to clean it
It
up.
will all be good.
Yep, I think so.
To adjourn the board of adjustment, County Commission.
Second.
Okay, motion by Jennings, second by Flanagan, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. All right.
Ready? Ready for all the plaques?
Yep, go ahead.
Okay. So the first one is 2025-84. It's for Mike Schulte and Maitland Partners LLC. It's for lot 63R of tract K and a portion of tract K of Paradise Acres. So if you remember, this one was based on that easement that you guys looked at last one. There was some questions, to go forward on it. And, Aki's gonna be online?
Well, Eric's here.
Oh, you're here. Okay,
I'm here.
sorry.
How you doing, Amber?
So I'm gonna let you kind of explain maybe your side, because they've heard my side.
Absolutely. Come on up. You have the
Okay.
floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Eric Neese, Gene Pesca asked me to be here to kind of make his pitch for him. And I've talked about this with Bruce. Unfortunately, we're looking at an area where there just isn't a lot of law. I wish I could take a statue and wave it in your face, but I can't because there isn't. And the basic question is how do you get rid of a private? My position and my dad's before me has always been that if the proprietor of the plat and anybody on the plat who's affected by the easement agree to it, they can do what they want because it's not a public easement. Our position is that's what's been done. Maitland Partners originally platted this, I don't know, 25 years ago, put in a private access easement. Gene will swear up and down that it was put in to allow the electric company to access the power lines. But there's no question it touches the edge of the property. He, a couple years ago, asked me to vacate the easement so they could replat the lots because there was no need for the access easement because it was realized that the utility easement did everything. So there's still a utility easement there, still power lines there as far as I know, but wanted to replat it so there's one lot there. I know questions have arisen. Did they have the right to do that? And my position is they did. Because everybody on the plat who's affected by this has consented to it, being Maitland Partners and the Schultes. I know the argument has come up, well, what about the neighbors? We have people buying and selling land reliance on this easement, I guess my response is that's why you get a public easement, or that's why you get an easement agreement. I think the issue is if somebody right next to it is allowed to rely on it, then is somebody 3 sections over allowed to rely on it? I mean, there's a question of it's a private easement. There's no easement agreement on file saying which lands are benefited by it. If we simply say that the neighboring property owner has some vested right based on a private easement, based on a plat that this land isn't even a part of, where does it stop? We're giving somebody rights that weren't given to them by the original plat. So I guess our position is the parties who were benefited by this easement are both consenting to it being vacated, and we'd ask that the plat move forward. That's our pitch.
Further discussion.
Couple of questions. Is there a power line over this area now?
Along right in front. It doesn't go down the road, but it's right in front of the road.
So it's not going over where this easement is. It doesn't go through where this is private.
No, nothing going unless there's a private line going to the house that's nearby.
Okay.
But there's nothing major going along that road.
But I will clarify, they're not vacating the utility.
Right.
The utility easement is staying, it's just the access.
Right, yeah. My other question, is the neighboring landowner been contacted at this point?
I don't know.
No.
I haven't.
Mr. Chair, I think Amber did some looking too, to look back at the time that the plat was approved, to see if there was discussion about why the easement was there and at whose behest it was placed down there, and I don't think there's any information to that effect.
There was nothing in the minutes that it was like for because Brandon had asked, was there something that said it's for fire, anything like that. I couldn't find anything at least listed in the minutes, and it's not on the plat in that way. It was everywhere that I can find, it just references private access easement and utilities.
Just in furtherance of the discussion, it may come down to a question, as Eric has sort of alluded to. I think he would say that his clients put the easement down there to service for their own purposes. It was not done on behalf of the county for any third party. And so then it comes down to an interesting question about if a plat is approved and it is certain that an easement is put on at the behest of the county, so it's a condition of approval. You wouldn't want somebody then later on to necessarily, without notice, going and altering that easement, correct? And so we may have to maybe change our procedures a little bit and require some additional information. If it is an easement required by the county to put on the plat that, it shouldn't be vacated except upon the express approval of the county or something like that. The enforcement of that is questionable, but at least it would put somebody on notice. But then I circle back, so I guess maybe the question here is why was it there? I have no contradictory information to help you make your decision in that regard.
And I totally agree with Bruce, and we've talked about this kind of from the practitioner's standpoint, because I've been involved in plats where we have a private easement to have a back door for fire access, and that to me is a different story than this, and we should maybe not now talk about what the process for that is. My understanding based on this is that's not what happened here. It was a private easement put in for the benefit of the developer who doesn't want it anymore.
If I can ask one more question, Eric, the neighboring property, do they have access off of the Maitland Road?
So I don't, it's Doug and Mollyhoff who I represent too, and I'm well aware of this land because I was negotiating with Dakota Gold. I don't know if it's 1,000-some acre property, and generally the access has been it's been from close to Bob's property. Exactly. I don't know if they can access Maitland Road from it. I don't know if they want to, because again, generally the access has been from,
So it raises an interesting question. So to the extent that the Hoffs would rely on that easement, arguably, it would be a limited easement. It wouldn't be something that they could subdivide 1,000 acres and add, however many houses onto that, right? It would probably be for what it is one for, I don't know, right? It would be the burden would
Yeah.
be fairly limited. And I don't know if that's helpful or not, but I throw that out there as well. So yeah, you just couldn't automatically put a subdivision on an adjacent 1,000 acres and probably funnel all that traffic onto Maitland Partners, road district roads.
Okay, further discussion or action?
I just remember that access over to Hobbs, but I cannot
Well, they have.
clarify anything on it.
That's, yeah,
That's, you were in charge.
And just one more, if
But
I,
I don't
oh, sorry.
remember it being a reason for Hobbs. But I remember it not being a reason.
Normally, when I go back and look at the minutes, if it was specifically, okay, this needs to be here for whatever
It
purpose.
usually was
It usually was
emergency egress only.
pretty well in there.
And that was started getting documented on the plats shortly after this one.
Yeah, so I mean,
I
normally
don't
you
know.
can find it.
I don't remember.
And that's what surprised me is it didn't specifically, because normally like your old chapter would have said, this was for this purpose, or the minutes would have said, this is for this purpose, or the plat would have said, this is for emergency fire egress, whatever, and it just wasn't in this case. So it was hard to.
Eric, I don't know if you're speaking on behalf of the Hobbs, maybe not, but you're not offering any remonstrance against this on their behalf.
No, I haven't talked with them about this. In a small town, you represent everybody. So I know Doug, he's a wonderful man. I haven't talked with him about it because I haven't been directed to talk with him about it. If I can just, Mr. Chairman, just say one more thing. One thing that Bruce and I did talk about was and I don't know if Lauren has provided the plat before had talked about it being vacated. This plat, I asked him to change that because my position is it was vacated 2 years ago. So he has updated it, which just basically refers to when it was vacated. And I talked to Bruce about that. If it's approved, I would ask that it be approved with that updated language. Just
Well, I know, Lauren, did you bring a new
Yes.
plat? Okay,
Oh,
that's just because we had P&Z sign it.
yeah, well, and see, I wanted to make sure everybody's aware. I would, if it is approved, I would ask that it be with that reference updated, so it's
No, that's good, because we did talk about that at the last meeting. It should have referenced that vacation.
and that's exactly what he's got. It just says vacated by Doc 2023-14, whatever.
We weren't trying to be presumptuous, but wanted to be able to present that as an option so you can see what that would look like if that was.
Exactly.
your decision-making process. Okay. Pleasure, gentlemen.
And it was to approve, it would have made it an exempt plat, and then preliminary. And final is what they were
We
requesting.
can do the exempt.
Oh.
Motion to the exempt.
And if I can just say one more thing, Mr. Chairman,
We got a
sorry.
motion.
Oh,
I'll second it.
was there a motion?
Further discussion.
I'm sorry.
Exemption.
Just one more thing. I've got Joe Joslin here. If you'll remember, we set up a road district for this, just for the commissions. The road district fully supports getting rid of this. It supports, just makes it very clear there's not an exit out of this that isn't retained. So the road authority is in support of this. And Joe's here for answering any questions if somebody.
Go ahead and get rid of this exempt. All those in favor of the exempt will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. All right, we got that out of the way.
Is this road on the road district map?
Not the,
Not the easy.
Yeah,
Not-
we
not the
specifically
easement.
made it not on the road district map because they
Correct.
didn't want one.
that's correct. And what you mentioned about not being able to use this easement then to access new development and hundreds of homes and all that traffic onto our roads, where we have no ability to collect funds to address the damage to the roads from that traffic. That was our main concern, so we fully support Maitland Partners' request.
Okay, if we could get your name and address for
Sorry.
the record.
Joe Joslin, 20686 Morningstar Road.
Thank you.
Joe, can you spell your last name for us?
Yep, Joslin. And I'm one of the 3 trustees on the road district.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. And we don't need,
Pardon me?
we don't need traffic coming from 1,300 acres back over into Caitlin. It's big enough. That's the way it is. And I never remember it. I make a motion to approve it. Preliminary and the final.
We already
No, we
did.
voted.
We voted.
I'm not gonna. I'm glad I'm not the only one who gets confused.
Yeah.
I
You made a motion.
will make a motion to approve the preliminary and final.
I'll second it for further discussion. Further discussion on the motion for approval.
I'm just a little perplexed that this is the 3rd time we've dealt with this, and every time we brought up the fact that it's the neighboring landowner been contacted, and we still haven't. It seems to me that that would have been an easy solution to contact the neighboring landowner and relieve our concerns.
All right, further discussion. We need to do a roll call. All right, go for it, Brenda.
Jennings.
Nay.
Pistol.
Aye.
Sleep.
Aye.
Flanagan.
Nay.
Ewing.
Aye.
It's 3-2.
Passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
guys.
Remember? What are we on, 89?
We're not even.
2025-89. Remember you want
All right. Randy, go for it. I'm not even gonna try. That work? Just have to explain it.
Well, I brought a simpler drawing. The other drawings are pretty busy, so I thought the simpler drawing might be an easier discussion point. On the drawing you're about to get, the blue is the new lot lines and the red is the old lot lines. And I think that's important. Take as many as you need. That's important because that's a government lot. Yeah. So what you see is we're making 3 lots into 4. And the 3 existing lots have 2 homes, 1 home on one each of the two of the lots. And the 3rd lot does not have a home on it, which used to be tract 1. Okay. So our choice was, and the only reason we're including lot VJ3R revised is because it's park forest zoning and it shows the acreage total meets the park forest zoning, and we're dedicating the right of way on that lot. That's why it's included in the plat, and the owner will sign the plat. Otherwise, the boundaries of that lot are not changing. So we have 3 existing lots. We're adding a 4th. We built a road up to the property going through the Deer Mountain Village because the BLM permit has been closed going out the other way. So we built the road up there. We did the best we could on the road because it fits between the tank farm and the county road. And when we graded it, in some areas we're a little over 15%. The 15%, as you recall, in the PUD, we had some areas in the PUD that had that as well. John Bay looked at the road. His report talked about it. He suggested we put up a sign typical of what Custer County is doing, and we would be glad to do that. And we already talked about where we'd place it. So if you read the staff report, they had 4 follow-up recommendations and said approval with those 4 recommendations. One is on the water district resolution of annexation, and Oz had to leave, but that is set for their final meeting this Friday. So that will take place and we can file the final plat after that. And so they will have their meeting and they'll vote on it, and then they will file the document accordingly. So that's fine. The other one is any bonding of unfinished water. The only thing not completed is a small pump station we need to provide to get the water pressure over to lot 4. And we have that prepared for your next county commission meeting. We actually had it prepared today, and we've got that. It's about $44,000. So it's ready to rock if we approve this today. The other 2, I don't have the staff report.
The other one was the secondary emergency access easement, which it was almost finished, but it wasn't quite done when we started.
The road has been built all along. We moved it in one area to stay off a private lot. We have an easement prepared if you want us to file that. Since it's in a green space, we didn't know if you wanted us to file it or leave it so we could move it as things progress. We can do it either way because it's a private easement.
Yeah.
So we have the document prepared so we could file that as well. The last thing is the exception for the road length and grade. The length of the cul-de-sac exceeds the ordinance, so we built the road that goes on out and connects in with the other area. If you look at your map, here's the cul-de-sac. Here's the road that's built out to the main road system. So it services lot 4 and then continues down to the main road system. That's that solid line. Okay. And then the cul-de-sac is right here, and the 15% is between the tank lot and the cul-de-sac. The other thing is on the water. The ordinance requires a 1,200 gallon a minute on a water system when you're on a water system that's a public system. This red dot right here is a hydrant, and there's a 400-foot radius around it. And the ordinance calls for 400 feet from a hydrant, and that's what we have to 3 of the lots. I again say that these 3 lots were already approved, and they share a well now. We're just offering them water, and we built the curb stops to those lots if they choose to meter into it. Okay. So we're putting a pump station to lot 4. It will only have potable water. So the hydrant will service those 3 lots, but not the 4th lot. So we come in palms up, say this is what we're doing. The water district, sanitary district, did the design and approved the design and approved the installation. So they're on board with having that water system that way. I know there's conversations with the fire district, and they say they have 400 feet of hose from that hydrant that can service that. So we have the water and the road issues. Tried to cover that quickly and not go to the busy maps.
So Randy, these lots you're talking about, the existing and the proposed, they were never part of the adjacent PUD for Deer Mountain. Is that fair? Just to kind of keep that clear for everybody?
The 3 existing lots were not, and we've added some acreage in those areas that are in that boundary, but they're not part of the PUD. And planning and zoning advised us to meet the park forest recommendations in density, because that's what the other 3 primary lots in the map, most of the acreage was in.
And so to the extent that the hydrants and so forth are there, that's probably only to the PUD and the development of that, but it happens to be in proximity to these other lots. Is that fair as well?
Yes, we put the extra hydrant in up at the tank farm because we were creating a new lot there.
And so the 2 houses that are there, they originally, there's a driveway, as I'll call it, down to the
Summit Road.
Summit Road, right? And the BLM has said that has not transferred amongst successive owners, so they are going to obliterate it at some point. Is that fair too?
Well, the thing is that this lot never had a permit for that. It was only to the parent property. So both of those lots, when they sold, they lost that license too. So there's been 3 sales. So that license is no longer valid. So they don't want to renew it. So it's in a reclaim mode right now.
And I think we have a picture of this. I don't know if it's helpful. So now the 2 existing lots with the ones with houses, they're going to have to use that steep driveway, I'll call it, that parallels the Summit Road, right? And that would also be the access for the 3rd lot without a house and then the additional lot that you're proposing. Is that fair?
Yes. Yeah. The cul-de-sac services the demarcation point where the driveways come off of it.
And so it's that road that you would ask for a variance on the length of the cul-de-sac and then also for the steepness.
The grade,
right?
yeah.
And is this helpful at all? I'm just kind of walking through it. And then so you would argue that the ordinance allows for variations for the steepness for short stretches, and this would be what, like a quarter of a mile or so?
No, the stretch of the 15% is about 200 or 300 feet. But there is some 13% on that same road, and the ordinance says small stretches of 12 to 14 were exceeding the 14.
And then again, the 2 existing homeowners are now going to have to use this already, so at most you're adding maybe 2 more residences on there.
Well, there's 3 lots back there,
Yeah.
so but you're 2 new houses we would add,
Right.
2 new building permits, and the thing is that if the plat isn't approved, they're still going to use this drive. So that's the only one they'll have.
if I may, and so then, regarding the length of the cul-de-sac, you said you put in this road, which would be the emergency access, right?
Right, right.
But then there would also be theoretically that same access that was gonna be removed by the BLM, would that be fair in an emergency situation?
Well, even when this is reclaimed, if you really had to, you could drive out on it. Because the bed will be there. I mean, the grading will be there and it's flat. So you could get out that way if you had to.
Is it also true that on the Terry Peak side, that there's also potentially other accesses? Now, these are not all weather accesses, but there would be a number of other possibilities to get out if there was a fire. Is that fair?
Well, if you look at the north lot, which is VJ3, the Summit Road actually touches that lot. It's just really steep to get there, and you couldn't build a driveway that's as nice as the one we built to get to all 4 lots. So,
Bruce, I think you're referencing he's referencing this road.
Was it Jeff and I?
oh yeah, yeah. That's why I show that, is it connects in the primary road system within the development, and then they have the existing approach off the summit. So that they used an existing approach, and the road is also used to access the water source, and it connects down here. The beauty of this easement is periodically we have a big water line easement in there that has the 2 main water lines, one that feeds the tank and the other that comes down and distributes, and they have access through that road to service those water lines. So that's another good reason to have that road in there. And that's why it was originally built anyway, was to service that water.
I have ask one more question. So this new road that services not only the water tank, but also would serve the residences, would you ever put a gate there at that entrance so that, because there would be no reason for people to be going up there, would there be?
Well, if you go back to the highway superintendent's recommendation, he wants a sign there that say you're at your own risk with emergency services. Basically, it's in his report. We could gate this as part of the gated community because it's a private access easement, but I would suggest that we would probably not gate it till after the tank.
Okay.
Because they can go in and out of there and the tank's already fenced. So that'd be a double gate for the water. So if you put it, you'd put it uphill. But it also serves as a road to get in and maintain the ski area. So down below it, there's a parallel area that the groomers go on, and that connects those upper ski areas. So there's another level place in there. And that's why we put the new road into the tank on the west side, is to stay out of the way of the skiers.
I think I bring it up because to keep people out of there that ought not to be there with that steepness of the road, right? So that you have a house up there, you knowingly go up there, but
yeah.
Yeah,
and currently when the contractor's not there, we put the split rails over that approach.
Okay, any further questions for?
I did have one other thing to bring up. The fire plan is completed on the portions of Block A, and the 3 lots would be exempt because it's a lot line revision, but there was a fire plan at that time when they were approved that was completed.
You don't have to, because there was one in place.
Okay, what's the pleasure of the board?
I was gonna thank Amy and Jeff on planning and zoning for helping me to understand this a little bit better, and for Randy as well.
Been a process.
Well, I've heard the presentation
My
twice
brain-
and it's still, but it appears
This does help.
to clean up a big problem that BLM created.
So there are a number of exemptions, but maybe the 2 primary ones, just to help the discussion, I think, are the steepness of the road and the length of the cul-de-sac. So if you can address those, the other ones maybe fall, because that would be the signage, and then ultimately it will get incorporated into the sanitary district, the water district, every application of that. So you probably, not to oversimplify, are down to 2 things: the road length and the steepness. 2 houses there, there's already another existing lot, so they're doing a lot line adjustment there and add another lot. So you're looking at 4 total houses up there as presented ultimately. On a dead end road.
This came up in planning and zoning. One of the other members said, what's the magic, or didn't use those terms, behind the length of the cul-de-sac? I mean, where did that come from? Is there a particular reason that a 800-foot cul-de-sac is better than a 1,600-foot cul-de-sac?
Well, when we redid the subdivision ordinance, at that time, it was, remember we worked with interstate engineering, looked at lengths of things for like just the fire safety and also water. That was kind of how it came about, was based on some of those things from the engineering side. Because we did change, it was actually different than it was this last time.
Commissioner Flanagan. You had your hand up.
I did. I'm having a blank.
Train run off
Thank
the
you.
track.
So, well, I had it and then I started glossing over again. So to do this the right way, we should acknowledge, if we decide to approve this, we should acknowledge and approve the exceptions to the ordinance to include the cul-de-sac length and the grade.
I think you actually have three things. You have the cul-de-sac length, the road grade, and the allowance of potable water only.
To lot
on
4.
Lot 4.
Okay.
Those would be the three exceptions.
And then the requirement possibly of the signage, which is not exactly an exception.
Sure. And then, but that cul-de-sac does have an emergency egress out of it.
Yeah.
So the cul-de-sac length, in my mind, is really not the issue, but I get it.
It's still not meeting the ordinance, so just to be.
There may be up to maybe 4 different ways out of there. Is that fair, Randy?
Yeah, it's probably fair.
3 at least?
3 at least.
Again, not all, just for full disclosure, clearly the ones I saw, not all season long.
How did this come out of planning? So
One nay, the rest yay.
Yeah. I don't have enough updated minutes. But yes, there was one.
That was.
Yeah, it was Jenny's.
Well,
He
I'll
was,
make,
he
I'll
was
make a
still trying to
motion.
figure it all
was he
out.
awake?
Well, yeah,
Yes, I voted.
yeah.
Okay.
This is a tough crowd. Would the steepness make a difference on that? It would for fire, and that steepness for the road.
I'm just trying to remember too, looking at some of the other roads out there, I don't know that there aren't other roads that are very close in steepness that you go and improve, not to say that they're equal or that one thing needs to be to improve another, but just in context, as I was noting things as we were out driving around. Is that fair, Randy? I mean,
Well, Mr. Chairman, we did have some roads within the development that were this steep for short stretches that are paved. I like John Bay's recommendation of signage. That's what Custer County's doing. And since this only really services one new lot, that's another part, because no matter what we do, these lots will be using that road.
Can a fire truck get up there?
In some cases, yes.
Yeah.
And they did speak to the fire department.
So I too have heard the presentation on this twice, plus a tutoring session from Amber. But it kind of, I decided what it boils down to me is what is our role for personal safety? Essentially it's a private driveway. If people want to drive up a steep, long driveway, that should be their choice. But on the other hand, there's 3 lots in here that will have need access on this. And is our role as a commission to make sure that we're protecting them from their own questionable choices and making sure that we can get emergency services up there. So in this discussion with a friend of mine this morning about personal risk, it's people aren't accepting of personal risk anymore and personal responsibility, and they're relying on government agencies such as this to protect them. So that's where I'm struggling with this whole thing.
See how government protects people in New York here pretty soon.
Yeah. No, I think people need to have a certain amount of responsibility upon themselves, and if they're gonna purchase this, and that's on them. I can't make a motion.
Well, I thought Commissioner Flanagan was ready to.
Well, you stalled that.
Yeah.
I got talked over the top of it and I forgot what my motion was gonna be, so
I wrote down the.
I'll let you guys figure it out.
In or not in my life right now.
You recommended,
I recommended approval of the preliminary and final plat with the condition, or with the exceptions of the cul-de-sac length, the road grade with the short distances of 12 to 14%. And then specifically with this one, there is a short stretch over 14. And then the potable water only a lot 4. That would just be the exceptions.
You want your sign in there too?
No, that wouldn't be an exception. That would be the next.
I make a motion to approve the preliminary and final plat with the exceptions approved.
Okay.
And the need for a sign that states protects the public, letting them know it's a steep grade.
And with to follow the recommendation of recording listed in here. I don't want to list all those out because she's already done them. But that's that we still need the water system agreement needs to be recorded, which I know they're working on. The sanitary district agreement, which again, that'll come on Friday.
To follow all staff recommendations as printed in our document.
Perfect.
All right, we have a motion. I'm gonna second it for further discussion.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I don't know if this matters, but so as Randy alluded to earlier, so if you approve this, then your next meeting, you'll probably see a memorandum of agreement and an engineer's estimate for credit for the improvement. Is that fair?
Yeah, it's already been submitted. Yeah, it's in the language. So, but it would be coming up. We have it ready today if you want to consider it today.
Okay, further discussion.
I think that steepness ought to enter into this more than it seems to.
That what?
Steepness ought to enter into more than it needs, than it is.
Okay, further discussion? All those in favor of the motion will say aye. Brenda, let's do roll call, please.
Jennings,
Nay.
Tisdale,
Aye.
Sleep,
Hey,
Flanagan,
Aye.
Ewing.
Aye.
3-2.
Okay,
Randy doesn't go anywhere.
you see on the next one, yeah.
I'm on like 5 of them,
Yep.
Mr. Chairman.
2025
This is gonna take the whole
action.
day. If I can
The
help.
rest of them aren't too bad.
Will they delay lunch for us? I gotta drive to Peter.
Okay.
Yeah, Christmas party. Oh, yeah, we're
Are
slowing
we
down.
in the- sorry.
Correct.
Okay, this one is also Deer Mountain. This one, the owners wishing to combine lots within Block A of Deer Mountain Village. The lots are being combined out of the original preliminary plat that were located in Block A. We will lower the density. There are currently no infrastructure on any of the lots. The lots will have primary access onto Golden Drive that links to Cabin Road with secondary access onto Birch Drive through gate for emergency purposes only. Water is being provided by the Deer Mountain Sanitary District, and each lot will have its own septic. There was a bond in place for this lot that was approved to be released as the infrastructure was done, and it was released in November of 2024. The fire plan has been fully mitigated, and there was a letter that we already received. So this one is just basically combining some of the lots. Everything else is in effect. It was motion to approve by planning and zoning.
Most of all recommendation.
Second.
Okay, motion by Flanagan, second by Tisdale, follow recommendation. All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. You were aye.
Yeah.
Mark, you were an aye. Yeah.
Okay. Next one. Deer Mountain 27R and 28R1. This was also owners wishing to do a lot line adjustment between the two lots. Their lots being combined out of the original preliminary plat. Currently no infrastructure on the lots. Revised preliminary was approved in 2023. Access comes off of Cherry Peak Summit Road. Water is being provided by Deer Mountain District. Each lot will have their own septic. Bond was released in November of 2024. Fire plan has been mitigated. It's a final only because of the infrastructure.
Second.
Okay, motion by Jennings, second by Tisdale to approve the final. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
92 KR Deer Mountain Development, Lot 1. Owners wishing to break off 1.36 acre lot out of the 84 acres of Block A. It was originally the approved revised preliminary in July of 2023. Lot 1 having remaining since then, there's been infrastructure done, which requires a new preliminary to break off lot one. It still needs the density of the block, lot of primary access, Old Drive, County Road, water grid by regular sanitary district. Bond was released, fire plan is in place.
Motion to follow staff's recommendation for approval.
Second.
Okay, motion by Tisdale, seconded by Flanagan for approval. All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
That went way too fast.
Okay.
What's up to bias?
I wanted to slow you down so you didn't make lunch.
Okay, next one is Pete and Sons Incorporated. What they're doing with this one is they'd like to plat off a portion of the property that is lying north of I-90. Basically, the interstate cuts this parcel on both sides of the interstate. And the neighboring owner who actually owns land in Meade County, but the county line runs right along this, would like to buy this portion on the other side of the interstate. In order to do that, we have to create a plat because it's never been platted. And so we've done this before where since it does get broken off, we allow that less than 40 to happen. And especially because the neighboring landowner in Meade County would like to purchase it to go part of his overall acreage. So it's a preliminary and a final plat, and it was, we did not require a fire plan. If you remember, we had written that into it, that when it's open lands like this, there's nothing there, we could, as staff, I could say that it didn't need it. So that's what we did. Looks like it ended up passing, but 4 did vote against it, and I don't remember why.
4 yeas and 1 nay, and the nay was more or less to do with spraying for weeds, I think.
Oh, you're right, it was the weed.
The buyer has agreed to do that. in the
Okay,
spring,
since
so-
the last time, okay, that was because the, Dave Heck had suggested that they do some work, and normally we just recognize that, and then Dave would go forward with his, but that's good that they would reach out to him. That it would get sprayed, so that's good.
Move to approve the preliminary and final as submitted.
Second.
Okay, motion by James, seconded by Tisdale for approval. All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mountain View Ranches and Northwest Energy. So if you remember, you guys approved the updated boundary map for Northwest, which is what am I thinking of? Centennial Quarry. For the Centennial Quarry, you approved that change. So with that change, this is the final plat. So we approved a preliminary plat based on that last time. Now they're just coming forward with the final, and it does match the preliminary agreement as we already approved.
Move to approve. Do we need to do exactly? No.
I don't think, I do have it on there, but you did do it as part of the preliminary, so we probably don't need to do it again. To you
Okay,
guys.
got a motion.
I'll second.
And a second by Flanagan. All those in favor, further discussion?
Yeah, I was wondering why you don't require them to spray the weeds and take care of the weeds before you okay the plats.
I'm not gonna answer that, because that was your guys' decision to go forward the way you have, so that's up to this board.
You guys answered that. Take care of your weeds before you okay them to do things, otherwise they don't do it.
Because we don't have an ordinance supporting that.
An ordinance supporting it. What did
The weed board.
Why didn't you make one?
That's why we have the weed board.
Well, it sounds like they got that taken care of, though.
This was the only plat that didn't have a management plan for weeds that we dealt with.
Oh, I see.
Part of the issue here was too that the neighboring, it was right on the Meade County line.
Mm-hmm.
But it sounds like the landowner has been made aware of it, and I think it was Mullen and Canada Thistle, if I remember right, he's gonna spray that.
Okay. Well, that's whatever you want to do, but I don't think you should do it that way. That's the deal there, because we got plenty of weeds and we got some weeds on the property next to ours and they didn't allow them to rent it until they sprayed the weeds. That's the way it should be. Oh, go ahead.
Davis has been more active and on top of.
Every month we receive a report and he gets the list of the landowners. And then he's been between the two of them, they've been going and talking to the landowners, so it's been working.
Okay, 2 years ago, those reports never had an action plan, now they almost always do.
He's done really good.
Been very proactive on it.
Yep.
Okay. All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Okay.
Right, Ingrid.
So the next one is for Kissick Water and Oil Services. You guys have seen this before. We kind of brought you, I think, the layout plan a couple months ago. So this is Heritage Hills subdivision. Originally, when you did this subdivision, there was a lot of discussion about the roads and kind of what was gonna happen with it. But, so at that time, they just said, okay, we'll just go ahead and get the roads built as approved. And they left that upper chunk alone. And since then, now the roads are all in. It has the loop road, so it comes off the road and comes back out. They have an agreement with the neighboring landowner, so the road got built over to his property, and there's an agreement in place, so he comes through there now. And so the upper part, they're looking at subdividing it into 3 lots, and each of those will have a driveway off of it instead of having that other loop way back up in there, which just wasn't meeting the requirements. So this way they can just do a driveway. The fire plan was written, it's in place. But there's discussion within that fire plan that basically states, depending on where house is built, is what would need to be done. So if they build on the lower part, it would be okay, but if for some reason they decide to put a crazy driveway up, then they're gonna have to do a specific fire plan up in that upper. So we won't know. We've had fire plans written like that before. We just keep them. So our office keeps track of those via a layer on GIS. So every time the fire plan is issued, so then when someone comes in for a building permit, they can choose that layer and it's like, oh wait, there's a fire plan on this. And then they go back and pull, well, what did it say? So that's kind of how we deal with that side.
Track it.
Yep. Yep. The fire plan layer has helped tremendously. We built that. I think Brett finished it maybe a year and a half ago. So we went back and pulled all the fire plans and now they're all layered. So it colors it in. I think it's pink or something. So it just is a good reminder of, oh wait, there was a fire plan on this.
Okay.
You let them to go ahead and change it to A2?
There is no, this is just a plat, the zoning's already there.
Okay.
Yeah, you guys redid the zoning 2 years ago, probably. Yeah, it's been a long time. This is just the last of the plats. So this will be the remainder. Every other plat has been done now. This is the last of it.
Move to approve the preliminary and final.
Second.
Okay, motion by Flanagan, second by Tisdale for approval of the preliminary as well as the final. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you, guys.
Sorry you had to wait so long.
That's good. Good seeing you.
This is the longest I've spent with him in a year. It's great.
Now you gotta take him to lunch.
Yeah.
He's dying.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Merry Christmas to you.
Thanks, Jessica.
Thank you.
Next one, 96, is that where we're at?
Yes.
Okay. MJ Legacy and Mike Limmer, this is lot 70, block 3 of Wilderness Estate, 2nd edition. This one is the owners wishing to combine the 2 lots into one. Property is currently zoned PUD, has a residence on it, full utilities on both roads to the area as House Pass. There is a fire plan in place. If you look, basically the structure doesn't meet setback, therefore he purchased the neighboring lot.
So it's nice when they.
Yeah.
combine.
Yeah, so now it'll take care of the issues with that.
Move to approve the preliminary and final.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Tisdale, second by Jennings for approval. All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. And Bucker and Family Trust. Is that,
This one, yeah, so this one is, the owner of lot 33A is purchasing land from the adjacent landowner to be able to build a new garage. This will allow the new garage to meet all the setbacks. They're currently in as a residence with infrastructure on the lot. The residence on the preliminary plat appears to be inside the setback, but it is not per surveyor. There's no infrastructure or improvements on lot 20A. The plat is exempt for lot line revision.
and we need a fire plan exempt.
So you just do, you have to do the exempt and then approve the plat.
Okay, we need a motion for exempt.
Motion to accept.
Okay, motion by Tisdale, second by Jennings for fire plan exemption. All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
And then you've got preliminary final.
Motion to approve the preliminary final. Jeez. Second.
Okay, motion by Tisdale, seconded by Jennings to approve the preliminary and the final. All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Golden Hills.
Subdivision was created in 2005, has an HOA, community water system, and municipal septic. Owners wishing to final plat a lot of that subdivision. Subdivision has a fire plan within their covenants, which was one of those old ones that we just had them within the covenants. Fire specialist, the lot will basically have mitigation done during the building process. So for the most part, when we start tearing down trees to put the house in, that's going to take care of the problem. So the occupancy certificate would not be issued until the fire specialist has re-reviewed once the structure is up, which we have done that in the past as well.
Says on there that the fire plan is needed.
Yeah.
You say you did that?
Nope, I just said that they would like to do it as part of the building process, because when they start taking trees down, it'll kind of take care of itself. So before the occupancy permit is done, they will have a re-review done by the mitigation person to say, is there anything else that needs to be completed?
Thank you.
So you would recommend approval of the final plat as it matches the approved preliminary plat. And then I believe we had a note added, just like more of a note stating the occupancy certificate, we would need that re-review.
So moved.
Okay, motion by Flanagan, seconded by Jennings, approval. All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion
Aye.
carried. You're opposed?
You're opposed?
All right, David Nielsen.
Okay. This one is coming about, Mr. Nielsen unexpectedly passed away, so the estate is trying to deal with some of the issues out there. And it's really hard to see unless you really zoom in on it, but basically there's multiple residences on this property. There's one of them that they are looking to transfer to the person, I believe, that's living in that house now. And to do that, they're kind of redoing that lot a little bit to kind of help give it a little bit more acreage. So it's just a lot line revision, really. And it's surrounded by Forest Service, government, there's floodplain on it. It really doesn't change anything. We're saying that it's exempt because it's just adding acreage to a little tiny lot.
Not very much acreage.
No, not very much, just enough. I think it was more so of just structure wise, making sure the structures are all on there.
Okay, we need an exemption for the fire plan.
Second.
Okay, motion by Jennings, seconded by Tisdale for exempt. All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
The,
Preliminary and final.
Move to approve the preliminary final. That's good.
I'll second it. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
I think I'm done. Just so you know, the next one's not.
Yeah.
See you. Right?
Do you want to just sign first?
Sure.
Before you leave?
Whatever one, don't let them.
We've got plenty to do, but I think we can.
We're gonna have a couple hours.
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, right. Let's take a, yeah, let's take a, break or let's take a break.
No, fine, please. Marathon session.
I'm gonna turn the mic off.
Marathon zoning.
Yes.
Sir.
You have the floor, sir.
Greetings, gentlemen, lady and gentlemen. Happy Tuesday. Well, thank you for the opportunity to just give you an update this morning on a few things. One of those is actually request permission to sign an MOU, but and that'd be the first item on the list here. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but it's a organization within the state called Secure SD, Secure South Dakota. And it was created as a result of SB 187, which is a cybersecurity improvement initiative within South Dakota. That organization has been charged with the oversight of about $7 million worth of funding for municipalities and counties within the state. I've been fortunate. I've been involved in this initiative for quite a few years, and I'm one of the advisory council members for this committee. And in order to participate in the grant funding, you have to do an MOU with Secure South Dakota that meets certain requirements, and it's pretty boilerplate. But so I'm coming to you today with the request to sign that MOU, because there's a couple of grant opportunities I'd like to try to take advantage of next year. One of those is we have all kinds of technologies that are doing things security related. We have some that I'd like to replace, and if we can do it, we can actually do it at a zero net cost difference, and have a more holistic view of our infrastructure. But we might be able to get either in full or a part in full of that solution paid for through a grant through Secure SD. I've seen a lot of requests come through in that organization so far, and I think our technology that would be proposing marries up really well with that program. Some things that have been requested don't necessarily line up with specifically security. Maybe some technology upgrades that might improve security, but that's not security related. What I'm looking for is security events and incidents that would happen within an organization, and getting visibility, correlated visibility within the organization, but also interface with some of our managed detection and response solutions. So that's what the MOU is for. And I said we'd be requesting to have the chair sign that MOU so we could put in a grant request next year.
Chairman, you have a copy of it in your packets.
So we want to approve this MOU and allow the chairman to sign.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, motion by Flanagan, second by Jennings for approval. All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'll keep you posted on that grant application. Bring that to your attention once we get that done, so you can see the parameters of what that would involve. Right now, there's no specific match required. We can submit for the whole grant, and we the full amount, and then either in part or in full be able to be awarded. So yeah, it'd be nice to be able to save some money. So the next option, or next item I want to talk about is is also security related. So I won't get into too many details, go through specific technologies, things like that, because it's sensitive. But we have a variety of disaster recovery and backup solutions that we utilize. Specific to the disaster recovery, we've had one in place for a couple of years. It has worked, but it has not been doing things as well as it could. In addition, it is not handling just our backup as well. We have separate solutions for backup. I have an opportunity to be able to combine those two, so they're working together better. So how this plays out is we have equipment on-prem that we back up all of our systems, both at the file level and full systems. Once that's backed up to our local hardware, which we have similar situations now, but it also puts it into a cloud environment, which we're also doing, but it's not tied into backup. So we have the ability to, with this new solution, run our environment from the local hardware. So say we have a server or an entire host that fails, we can actually run our systems off the local device, or if we're having a major outage
on site, we can actually run our same systems from the cloud, either here or anywhere else we designate. So it gives us the ability to continue operating during severe failure. And this solution works much better in that respect. It also allows us to be able to have multiple types of backups, but using the one solution. So we can have local backup on disk, cloud backup, as well as air-gapped backups, which we have on removable media that we keep off site here. What's nice about this, in addition to that, is we have the ability to save some money. And because we're combining some solutions, but still being able to diversify our types of disaster recovery and backup types, there's certain types of hardware support we don't have to pay for other technologies, for duplicate technology. So over the span of about 3 years, we should save somewhere about $27,000 on what we're paying already. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention, that that's something we're working on right now and trying to get implemented before the end of the year. It is a budgeted item, and so we should come in under budget from what we've had before. So I think we're in good shape.
This is just information.
Information for the board, so you understand what we're working on and where the money is going to.
Well, thank you for saving.
Yep, making every effort when we can.
And making the system better as well.
Well, and there's such a reliance, every office here is just relying on our systems to work. And so we're trying to do the best we can to keep them available. So
it's making the redundancy more effective and efficient. Is that?
it is,
That's what I'm understanding.
yes, as well as our being able to consolidate our diversity, if that makes sense. Yeah.
All right. Any questions? Okay.
I have one more item too, and that's about this room and your audio visual stuff for your meetings. There's been a lot of discussion, over the past, few months, and Bruce and I have had some discussions about what might work best for both for you to be able to utilize, as well as those who are connected to your meetings. And so what I'm proposing that we do is, Bruce has been using his laptop, which we can continue to allow someone to bring in a laptop to connect to the AV system, but to have a dedicated machine that's wired into the system, so that you have a monitor and keyboard, but a small mini machine underneath the table. The monitor can be moved, keyboard can be moved. So that is something that would stay here. It wouldn't be moved. The connections wouldn't be disconnected and connected, which has been a problem, because then we have connections that wear out. And I think that's what happened with Bruce's laptop on one of his USB ports. So we have that here, replacing the cameras with a high quality camera. You can decide if you want to have more than one. Right now we've had two. One of them's got issues, but we've had two, so you can aim them whichever direction you want. We can set it if you wanted it to zoom into who's talking, or just have it static. If we have it static, there's less chances for it to have issues. A single high gain microphone in the ceiling. We can still utilize our speaker system, but the PC, instead of using Bluetooth, would be hardwired to the amplifier, so we probably have less issues with connecting to that. And we still have the Bluetooth available if someone brings a laptop in. Yep, TVs are on the list too. So, and this is kind of a decision that I wanted to kind of ask the board what you think. Right now you've got two TVs that are replicated on a wall here, but you see either the people that are connected to the meeting, or you see the paperwork that's up. You don't see both. So the proposal is to add another two TVs in here, so you can basically have two screens to split that between. And we could either go with some smaller TVs. Right now, the 70-inch TVs, I've looked, because that's what those are right now, or about $500 a piece, give or take. If you wanted to try to have some smaller ones mounted side by side, or one above the other, I don't know if the board has any preferences about what they'd like to see with regards to displays. So I'd like get your input on that before we would take any move in that direction.
It seemed to me that it'd be beneficial for the chair if they had the screen of who was on it, if we could do that display in the back.
Okay.
Because it can be hard to see from this. The angle isn't very good from this.
So, and Bruce and I have had some discussions on this. If we can get one that's sized enough, that's and out of the way, so people that are standing in the back it wouldn't be sticking out too far. So we can do something like that without a
Well, you
problem.
can certainly get rid of that clock because it's never right anyway.
So that's a good point. And then just, so basically one of the pair, you have this here and then one pair over here. Would you want to do just the one, or would you want to have another one over on this side? You'd have to get smaller TVs to have two of them over there for them to work.
How is it for the audience to see? Can you see these screens fairly well?
So if I may, so we're talking
Yes.
about originally two TVs there, two TVs there. And now I'm hearing maybe two TVs there split with the paperwork on this wall and who's in the room over there. So there would be still four TVs.
Four TVs.
Two married up on this wall, but then split on these walls.
So I'm not following why we need two TVs on here. If we have a display back here with who's on it, shouldn't we just need one TV on each side for the paperwork?
And we can do that. We can have just these split for one and the other second monitor be over here. We could do that.
So that would be the attendees and this would be the information.
Yes.
Or whichever way you wanted it to be. You know, you
Wow.
can move the data over. Yeah.
I think the thought was is that depending on where you're sitting at, you could look across, just kind of how it is now, right?
Right. Yep.
Okay.
Can they input or? Yeah.
Well, we've got flooding in our contingency.
Well, we were, I mean, we have to try to spend it by the end of the year. We have that 100,000 in your contingency, so we have to get started.
I'm estimating about 3,300 for everything. And we can, our team would do the implementations. There wouldn't be necessary labor, but we just get the equipment on hand. Yeah. Before the end of the year.
My suggestion would be to do one back there that only always has that on it. We get single regular resolution cameras, just like these are now. And the computer to set it up that way. And then these would switch to whatever is put onto the board, but that one would always stay so you can see who it is. And if you wanted to see that one, all of us can turn there and see that.
And what you're talking about, so you talking about dual cameras then? Just one?
Same one we got.
Okay.
Just same
just
kind of concept.
Same concept.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know that we need to zoom in and.
Because that actually,
I'm not pretty in person. I certainly don't need anything zooming in on.
so that'll cut the cost of the cameras, and buying just one TV instead of two, we should get us well under what we've estimated here for the equipment.
I think that's.
Very large one back there.
Yeah, you're gonna
Can
have
get
to have it large.
get a
if you
flat
see
mount and
people.
shove it up to the ceiling and.
Okay, the way I say it, I'll offer a suggestion for a motion to, Greg's estimating 3,300, to be taken out of contingency and get going on the project. And I can't make.
I'd make a motion to spend no more than 3,500 on the update in the room from the
Second.
commissioner's contingency.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
Really like the stationary.
Yeah, the connections not moving all the time would be very helpful. And then, like, for example, at least one of these microphones would be, it should get the whole room. That's the hope. So.
You should be able to just get a little dongle that'll plug into it, like a different laptop, then hook into the system.
We
wire
would
it
just
into the.
go hard right underneath and up to the
That's still,
top.
well, I mean, for somebody else.
Oh, yes, yeah. That would be,
Plug
yeah,
it in and
yeah.
there you go.
But just use your Bluetooth for that too. So, yeah.
As part of this larger discussion to facilitate it, because we're at the end of the year, would you entertain today making a motion to allow the contingency transfer either what to the commissioner's budget or to IS&T budget, so that is prepared to be done? It's part of this larger discussion I think you had.
So,
Thank you.
Second.
Okay, motion by Tisdale, seconded by Flanagan. All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thanks for working.
We don't need a public.
Absolutely. My pleasure.
Okay, is that it, Greg?
Any other questions, gentlemen?
I have none, but I'm gonna take a 2-minute break because I want to visit with you real quick.
Sure. Very much.
Thanks.
Call the meeting back to order.
Yeah, Bill.
I
Bill and
probably-
Paul,
probably
and
will.
Mitch is online
You
as
will
well.
be?
All right, come on up, gentlemen. You can drag your chair up if you want, Paul. Thank you. You gentlemen have the floor. We're going to share everybody those things, so there's, we amended the agenda, we talked about the, I think, the benchmark project, US Forest Service benchmark project.
Yeah, thanks for allowing us to come and talk to you. I know you're busy and this is kind of a gotcha moment for us in that just last week we learned that the Forest Service has been working on a project in the Northern Hills called the Benchmark Project for quite a bit of time. And I actually, Paul's the one that had mentioned to me, the Forest Service hadn't made any efforts to let us know or anybody know that the project is going, which gets back to our whole cooperative agency status and the willingness of the Forest Service to work with the county. So I'm going to turn it right over to Paul and let him kind of discuss what's going on. And also, there is some good news. We do have a district ranger that's been appointed for the Northern Hills District, and Paul knows him, I don't. So I'm gonna let Paul visit a little bit about it.
Thanks, Bill, and thanks for the opportunity to talk. So this benchmark project is down near Benchmark. They're talking 40,000 acres or so of analysis. And it came up in a conversation with the forest supervisor I had a week ago, kind of, and I had to kind of press them on what they're working on. And so it has not been scoped yet, has not been put out technically for public comment. And so I met with the incoming district ranger yesterday. And we had a scheduled meeting. It wasn't about this, but I talked to him about Lawrence County Natural Resource Committee, Lawrence County Commissioners, and the cooperative agency troubles we've been having. So on the good news, he's currently, he lives in Spearfish, Patrick Champa. He's the Bear Lodge District Ranger. He's doing a lateral transfer over to Northern Hills. So he will take the lead, replacing Steve Cole as a permanent district ranger for us on Northern Hills. He did commit to me yesterday to build a really positive relationship with the commissioners. He felt that he did that in Crook County and Weston County, regardless of where we sit with an MOU and official status. He very much wants to bring us in as a county to really work together. Shared no more details about the project with me than that. So I think there's probably some work to do on getting communication started with the district and asking to be more involved even without the cooperating agency status at this point.
Sounds positive for a change.
It did. It sounded very positive, and that comes on the heels. And just, I'll make this quick, but we have a new administration. We have a new Secretary of Ag for the Department of Ag. We have a new chief. I heard the chief speak the last week of October at a national meeting. He has a plan to bring every forest supervisor in the country together for a leadership meeting with him. It was supposed to happen in mid-November. With the shutdown, they rescheduled it for January. And his goal, his mission in this leadership meeting is to communicate to every forest supervisor in the country at once that in order for the agency to meet their task, their mission, he is expecting and will have accountability measures in place. He's expecting every forest supervisor to lead their forest and their line officers underneath them to build capacity through partnerships with counties, industry, NGOs, and to get work done is going to take building this relationship. So the direction from the top down is very positive right now on that. It seems still a struggle to get it through some of the forest supervisors, but I think there are folks like Patrick, who's a district ranger, who understands the mission and is willing to step up and really follow direction. So I think there's a really good opportunity right now to revisit this. Patrick will not be somebody who could grant the county cooperating agency status. That still is above his level. But I think the timing is changing again to maybe taking another look at this.
Yeah, so anyway, there is some good news out there. Because we've been kind of in the black because when Steve left, Steve was fairly communicative with us and still wanted to have some relationships. So I think it's time for us to relook at going after our cooperative agency status, both from a project level standpoint and then also reoffer, go back the same road of requesting cooperative agency status for the forest, like we had for 5 years. And I guess that's what I'd like to see the county commissioners take a lead on. We can do stuff through the Natural Resource Committee to get it going, but it's going to take some, the initiative of the county commissioners to request cooperating agency status. I think it would be, in the light of where we're at with the other forests, what's going on in Wyoming. I mean, the county commissioners and the forests, the different forests in Wyoming are falling over each other to work with each other. And there's really great examples out there. The bad example, unfortunately, for Region 2 is right here, the Black Hills. And that goes right back to the leadership. And so, but I think it's coming from the top down, like Paul said, that we can make some changes. I think he's going to, whether he likes it or not, there's going to have to be some changes made at the supervisor's level as far as being able to work with the forest. So I wanted to, Mitch couldn't make the meeting here in person, but I'd like to have him talk about a little bit about what's going on with the meeting he went to in Wyoming. And I just want to tell you, we aren't paying Mitch anything for, the local stuff here, but he's doing a great job. And I am so fortunate to have him on our committee because he's been very, very helpful. So he learned a lot, and he did some, meeting with some folks out of the regional office in the different forests over in Wyoming. At that meeting, he was allowed to attend, which I think will benefit us long term. So Mitch, you want to go ahead? Mitch, you're on. Yeah.
Still muted, Mitch. I did get your travel request. I've submitted it for payment. So it'll be paid on the 23rd.
But we're not here.
There we go.
Can't hear you.
Try now, Mitch.
Can't hear you, Mitch. Where's Greg?
It's probably on our end here, Mitch, so.
Hang on. We can't hear you, so Bruce is looking into it here.
We'll go ahead with some other things as long as we're waiting for Mitch. I don't know if everybody's heard, but there's no longer a Black Hills Forest Advisory Board. That was squelched, and I don't know whether that came from the bottom up from what was going on with our supervisor. I know he was trying to make the meetings bi-monthly, and I mean, he was pretty much trying to phase it out as it was, but my understanding, it's no longer part of the forest. So
have you guys heard anything about why? I was meeting with the forest supervisor yesterday, and that his response was that was from the administration, that they're doing away with all of the NFABs. I didn't know that there was that many infabs across the country.
I think we were the only one left.
Well, that was kind of what I remember.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I heard the same message.
There was two. There was the one in the west.
Yes.
Yeah. Or south.
Yeah. I heard the same thing. I have no reason to think he was lying to us. I could see the administration maybe doing that. I don't know the exact.
But it seemed contrary to what the other messaging was.
I know.
Of working with the public and with other agencies to get rid of the infab.
Yeah, yeah.
Craig's gonna try to help out or using testing.
Well, I was just going to say, not to go back, but I didn't even tell Bill this, but there was a request actually from the chief's office. They're aware, the chief's office is aware of the struggles that Lawrence County has been having on this forest getting cooperating agency status. And there's a request that if there's anything in writing that we could share with them, documenting that stuff, they would sure love to know where we're at with it.
Well, we got plenty of that.
More so than what this timeline would
I
be?
think this was pretty, yeah.
I was conversation with Senator Round's office yesterday, and they made the same request of a timeline.
And can you hear me, Bruce?
Yes.
Okay, so it's got to be on the other end.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely.
Bruce, typically if he logs out, logs back in, it has his mic on when he does it.
Yeah, Mitch, can you try to log in and out again, please?
Bruce, he might be able to change his settings. Might be just another microphone.
Or if he wants to just call in.
Yeah, if you want to call my
That's
cell
quicker
phone.
instead of.
Yeah. Mitch, if you can hear us, want to call my cell phone?
Wait if you can hear us, Mitch. I can hear you.
Mitch, can you hear us?
I'm calling it.
Everybody's calling in.
Yeah, he's got your phone ringing there.
Hey,
It's because you guys are all calling at the same time.
Mitch, we're gonna put my phone on the table and you can talk to these guys through my phone, okay?
Okay.
Sounds good. Do you want me to start right now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, well, first of all, with the cooperating agency status, the forest itself has raised some legal issues in the past, which we addressed. They don't agree with us, but I did at the conference in Buffalo, Wyoming, I was able to talk to several high-level environmental attorneys and ran Lawrence County's legal concerns by them, and they completely agreed with Lawrence County and said the Forest Service is completely wrong on those. Essentially, it has to do with sharing information and the Federal Advisory Committee Act restricting cooperating agency status. So that's 3 attorneys that have weighed in just through casual conversations with us that say, we are in solid legal footing with what we're requesting, and the forest is wrong on that. So that was a good outcome with that meeting. The other thing that is going on is they brought up a lot of good examples, as Bill alluded to, but Wyoming, the state of Wyoming and the counties are pushing hard at the Washington office level about the Black Hills National Forest, and they're really frustrated, even more so than Lawrence County or any of the counties in the Black Hills. So there's a very keen awareness of the problems on the Black Hills. The group that met there in Buffalo, I was really surprised to learn that they had heard about it, some of the problems, and were very aware of it. So something may change out of that. And kind of an example, I just want to real quickly state what's going on with the forest supervisor is that he's delaying information, holding it back. And just an example, he had hired a engagement coordinator to work with the forest plan revision, to work with stakeholders and the public, and nobody's heard about it. And I just happened to meet the contractor from the University of Wyoming at this Buffalo meeting. She told me what she was doing. She knew very little about what had gone on, so I filled her in. And that's just kind of an example of kind of how we're operating in the dark, and it's very detrimental. One other thing that the forest is going to keep harping on is the special expertise that's required for cooperating agencies. And so with that, I think it's important that the Natural Resource Committee has members that have a variety of backgrounds, whether that's in range or timber or watershed or GIS, whatever. It's important to meet that special expertise requirement. So that's the gist of what I had to say. Except I'll close with this, that we've got a good chronology and timeline of what we've tried to do to get the cooperating agency status reestablished, renewed. And I think we should push that. And I also wonder if we shouldn't maybe push this a little through the state as well, by going through Hunter Roberts, whether that's just through conversations or letters, whatever the county deems appropriate. But I think Hunter has access to the governor, and I don't know how you all feel about that, but I do know that Hunter is very, very frustrated as well. So I'll close with that unless you have any questions.
All right, yeah, thanks, Mitch.
I don't know if this is a Mitch question or you guys. I was asked yesterday if there are any other counties in the Black Hills that have had cooperative agency status with the Forest Service. I didn't think there was. Has anybody else applied over the years?
Yeah, well, all of them have applied and have it with the Black Hills National Forest for the Black Hills Forest Plan revision.
The revision.
Yep.
Right. But none of them have cooperative agency agreements like Lawrence County had that would encompass all of the management projects.
No.
Okay, that's what I was thinking, but I wanted to make sure I have that right.
But there are bunches of them in Wyoming.
Yeah, of counties.
Yeah, of counties. And Wyoming's not the only, I mean, Idaho's got them, even Utah's got them.
In other forests.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
I mean, we aren't the only ones in the whole forest doing what we're doing.
Right. Did anyone have any questions for Mitch so we can let him hang up? Mr. Diver, or Senator Diver?
I had a comment on Commissioner Jennings' question when you're ready.
Okay, are we done with Mitch so he can go on with this day? Thank you, Mitch.
Yeah, thank you.
So I getting back to Mitch's comments, I think that the timing is right to do this, to go back after this. We've kind of been settled back waiting hopefully something would come from the quarterly meetings that Eric had, which nothing really came from that. We need to go forward trying to get a cooperative agency status. And I think there's going to be support from the chief, the region, all the way down. And if we can get the state to help us on this, I think the state's really frustrated with their relationship, especially with the LiDAR situation. I'm sure all you guys knew what happened with the LiDAR. They sent us the wrong stuff, I think almost intentionally. And we never were able to use that. The forest is still holding that LiDAR hostage and not allowing anybody to use it. And I think Mitch is right about as we go forward right now with our with the Black Hills Forest Plan and everything, I would really like to see us expand our Natural Resource Committee. We've got some good applicants out there, and I'd like to have you guys consider them and bring them on again. So, we'll have that discussion first meeting in January. Yeah. So that's really all I have. I appreciate you guys' time. This isn't fun for me. I like you guys, but I don't like coming up here. And I hate doing this over and over and over. And I've been through this over almost 3 decades now. And we have gone backwards on this. We are probably at the worst situation in 30 years right now that I've seen. And it all gets back to the leadership. Blaming this board? No, I'm not blaming this board. I'm blaming the leadership of the Black Hills National Forest. Yep. Just let me clarify. No. Commissioner Diver, or God dang it, Randy.
That's all right. I mean,
Senator.
Well, I just wanted to add a few things. Throughout the United States, there's a lot of counties that have cooperative agency status. There's a lot of them that don't need it because they work that way already. But the hiccup here is we've asked for it outside our jurisdiction. I don't know how many are outside their jurisdiction. And we're asking for a forest-wide one. That's a significant difference in the debate that continues to go on. So that I just wanted to point that out. And I don't know of any in Utah or Colorado that have outside their jurisdiction, but the county next to them works with them so closely. And then the other counties in the Black Hills, if you look at Pennington County, they have a full-time person doing this. He's in contact with the ranger all the time and they're buddies, right? If you look at Custer, the district office is right up the hill. They just go up there and people from the district office come to their commission meeting all the time. Now that's the majority of the forest, us and those two, right? So those relationships are unique and different. I think we need to acknowledge that. We don't have that. We're up here on an island and we've got a ghost as a supervisor. He just doesn't show up or send somebody in his stead unless he gets a congressional request. And that's been his MO since he's been here. He won't return calls, won't show up, or he'll send staff instead. And that's not only dealing with the county, but dealing with the public on access permits and other things. So it's a common MO here. And that infuriates me. And then he constantly says, don't go over our head. We don't have a choice in that situation, but go over their head. And I think we've paused that a little bit to give this new supervisor that opportunity. And we're going nowhere. And there's always an excuse. The shutdown. The LIDAR has cultural implications we can't share. There's always an excuse to delay things.
Funding.
Yeah. And to the funding, we had $5 billion come out to either fire mitigation and or cooperative. What's it called when you do it with the state?
GNA.
Good Neighbor Authority. And our forest wasn't there asking for this money and that went to our region. Then they say they don't have money for staff. That was their opportunity to get that staff. So last year at the legislature, we passed a resolution because the other excuse was socially, I cannot do timber sales because the public doesn't want it. We did a resolution and all 105 legislators voted for it, that we need to manage our forest, the timber industry. So he keeps throwing out these roadblocks and we keep having them knock them down. And that's got to change. And our congressionals are the ones that can do that. I will say that the state has a much better relationship than the county, but it's only because of Marcus communicating with the forest. It's a closed network. Marcus doesn't share that with the counties. And that's why Hunter is frustrated too, especially on the Good Neighbor Authority. They'd like to implement more and justify maybe even hiring staff, but there's just no avenues left. So it's very frustrating. And I think our current governor is aware of that and he needs to act too. And Hunter relies on his staff. Secretary Roberts relies on his staff and he has to. You can't completely sweep them away, but we need to keep these people moving forward. And I think our county has led that generationally and we need to get back in that path. I wanted to talk briefly on the Natural Resource Committee. When you look at that next month,
because I won't be here most likely. It's important to look at the applicants. When we had a big committee and we had the forest plan come in, who responded to each of the 21 items? Volunteers on that committee. We tried to assign some to commissioners and they didn't do anything. We did that as volunteers, unpaid. That's an unpaid committee. When you want public interaction in the county commission, you can do it through these unpaid committees. So having it small isn't necessarily good when we have another big project come. The next level of the forest plan revision, we need that expertise, and we assign people to do that, and it worked very well. If you don't put a person on the committee, why would they help anymore? So you don't want to narrow it down too narrow. Now you have the ability to change that periodically, even after the first of the year, to meet that need. But if you're shunning these, the public that wants to help, wants to be engaged away, that's contrary to why you have committees. So I encourage you to look at expanding that so we have the expertise when we need it. That doesn't mean it has to meet all the time, but they're unpaid. A lot of your boards are paid. So it is fully volunteer. So it doesn't matter how many you have on it financially. So thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right.
Anything further from you, gentlemen?
Any other questions or anything?
No, thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
guys.
Okay. We are down to items from the public. If there's anyone online or in the room that would like to address the board this morning, Sarah?
I actually do have a request. If you guys could make it more mandatory for people to state their first and last names, it would make my jobs a lot easier and I'd have to send less emails to them.
All right. I certainly try to remember that, but we'll try to be helpful. Well, I only have to do it today in one more meeting and then it's okay. Our next successor. But yes, we will. Thank you. Is there anyone online that would like to address the board? Not seeing anything, so we'll close that portion of it and items from the commissioners. Anyone have anything?
I have an item. We need some consistency on this report stuff. We made our planning and zoning director come in, give a verbal and a written. Why aren't we requesting our John to do a verbal? Why aren't we not treating all of our department heads equally?
Okay.
I think we need to have a standardized process that they do, policy, and we stay with it.
Okay. Well, that's another item we can take up first year. Anything else?
Next time.
Well, we did it first, let's throw it on the agenda.
I think, if I may, you have the flexibility to do it, although when you approve the travel request to days, nothing was said then, but I think if you want to, I can let John know that that's a condition of the approval. The fair, we can just add it for that one and try to catch the other ones.
Make it a standard.
I don't know
From
that
here forward is what.
comparing her verbal report to her written report, they're both very good. And I could have gotten by just fine with the written report, but whatever the rest of the commission wants to do, I'm happy with it. And we need to standardize it because we picked on a woman.
But maybe in John's case, should I convey to him a written report or oral report?
What's everybody want?
I just didn't have it written so we can have that to refer back, but then if we have questions, we can ask them.
Well, in like his case, he's gonna give us an update verbally as well.
Hey, well,
Yeah,
but Rick's right, every department should have the same qualifications, and every time they come in and report from a conference they've been, I learned something too.
Oh, yeah.
That I can do a better job as a commissioner.
Okay, Bruce, you got it on for next time?
I'm just gonna, I propose just to add it and let John know and he'll do it. Is that fair?
Well, but if you wanna,
You have the discretion to do it. We just need to remember
To put it as part of the motion. That
Well, we don't want to have to
travel.
remember to do it every
I
time. We
can-
want it to be part of the travel request.
yeah,
Yeah.
That they report back.
so
Just
we
add
probably
it.
better put it on the agenda.
That's what I intended it to be a part of the travel request there last time when I made notes in that, because everybody needs to report.
Yeah.
Even these guys here that just reported to us and that.
Okay, anything else? Anyone? We'll be over at the Silverado at noon.
Looks like I'll be sitting here for another.
10:47?
Well, let's make the motion to adjourn, and I adjourn.
Okay, 10:47.
Yeah, recording.
All right, we're done.